Hi there guys, so apparently Bryant Jennings will be Derek Chisora's chief sparring partner in preparation for Oleksandr Usyk. Now, some old sparring footage has been dragged up of Chisora sparring Bryant Jennings, and Chisora is on the ropes trying to work away while Bryant Jennings is smothering him and working up close. Now obviously, Derek Chisora is a lot different fighter now to what he was then. Many things are different. Chisora, for one thing, is looking a lot bigger now than he was then. He's a lot more physically imposing, a lot stronger as well. Now, Chisora has always been big, but a lot of that was body fat. He was a little bit fleshy, whereas now he is solid. He's like a wrecking ball who will not stop coming forward. And the surprising thing about Derek Chisora is he doesn't get hit as much as you think he would. He comes forward, but he bobs and weaves his way forward, so he doesn't get marked up all that much, lands his own shots, and he is very, very powerful, especially since he has bulked up a little bit more. I mean, he weighs in around 18 stone, so he is a big heavyweight. And obviously, Bryant Jennings is a natural heavyweight. So Oleksandr Usyk isn't going to be able to have his way with Chisora like Bryant Jennings was in that sparring session, because Bryant Jennings did have Derek Chisora backed up, but Chisora was having his own moments as well. And as I said, Bryant Jennings, what he was doing was staying close to him, keeping it up close, making sure that Derek Chisora was unable to work. But at one point, Chisora was working to the body and then landed a big hook on Bryant Jennings, which completely knocked Bryant Jennings off balance. And I mean, he got straight back to Derek Chisora, but if that head guard wasn't there, I'd imagine he would have been seeing stars at that point. He probably was anyway, but obviously at that point, you don't want to give up any ground. He was smothering Chisora, and he doesn't want to give Chisora any opportunity to get off those ropes, because Chisora is dangerous on the ropes, but he's even more dangerous when he is coming forward. Now, the interesting thing is, Derek Chisora is tucking up well. I know it looks like he's being backed up to the ropes, but ultimately what he is doing is tucking up well. He gets caught with two shots that backs him right up onto the ropes. But after that, he tucks up well and he catches and counters. So ultimately, Bryant Jennings is throwing, but he's not checking what's coming back. And that's when Chisora has his opportunity to land. And as I said, it looks like Bryant Jennings is just going to work on Derek Chisora. But Chisora is actually not getting hit all that much. He's actually landing more of the punches. And also, he bobs and weaves and ducks a few shots as well. Chisora doesn't get hit all that much, as I said. And in this sparring session, it does look like he's getting caught. But he's actually not. He can take those kind of shots. And he's a very durable fighter, and he will come out and dish out his own after taking some. Because remember, in that Carlos Takam fight, he took the kitchen sink from Carlos Takam, then went and knocked him out. Derek Chisora has always got that, and it's more than just power. It's that heart that pulls him through, and you can see that even in his sparring session with Bryant Jennings. Now, obviously, this was a previous sparring session. It's not from the camp for Oleksandr Usyk. I want to stress that. But it is a sparring session where you can see what Derek Chisora is going to be up against in sparring. He will have quality sparring. Bryant Jennings is a good opponent, and you can see he's given him good work in sparring here. So in the camp for Oleksandr Usyk, Bryant Jennings will help Derek Chisora get in the best shape he possibly can for Oleksandr Usyk. And I think what Derek Chisora will try and do in the fight with Oleksandr Usyk is something similar to what he is doing in sparring with Bryant Jennings. Stay on the ropes, maybe fight for only a minute of the round, because obviously he's going to get tired quicker than Usyk. So what he must do is make sure his engine is there. Make sure he can go 12 rounds, because realistically he's not going to outpoint Oleksandr Usyk, but one thing he can do is knock him out. So ultimately what he must do is make sure he is sucking up the punishment, but not too much of it. Make sure he's catching the shots on his gloves, and then dish out his own maybe later on in the round when Usyk is starting to fatigue a little bit. Now obviously we've never really seen Usyk fatigue, but he has been dropped before with a body shot in the amateurs. So maybe that is something that Derek Chisora could work on. Tire him out, work down to the body on the ropes, then back him up. And we've never really seen Oleksandr Usyk going back too much. I'd like to see Derek Chisora backing him up a little bit and see how he deals with that. But anyway, guys, what are your thoughts on this? Derek Chisora has brought in Bryant Jennings for sparring in preparation for Oleksandr Usyk. Guys, drop your thoughts in the comments below, click your thumbs up and subscribe if you are new. Thanks, guys.